The reason why your bench press isn't progressing isn't due to you having a weak chest or weak triceps. It's because you don't know how to use leg drive correctly, or you aren't using leg drive at all. So in this video, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the myths and the common mistakes people make when using leg drive, and then going into how you can actually use it and apply it to your lifting to help drastically increase your bench press. So getting straight into the myths and the common mistake, we have doing a hip thrust bench. Now you might see this in the gym or scrolling through TikTok, you'll see people bench pressing, but it looks like they're doing a hip thrust at the same time and their glutes come flying off the bench. Not only does this look kind of weird when you're doing it, if you do this in a competition setting, so a powerlifting competition, you will get red lighted and you will fail the lift. So it's very important that we do not do this when we're bench pressing. Now the reason behind why this happens is people don't know how to use leg drive correctly and how to actually drive with their feet. So if you do see someone doing this, they're pushing down into the ground, and you do not want to be doing that at all. So you want to be pushing with your feet correctly, but I'll get into that later on in the video. Now the second mistake I see people make is not using the right stance and foot position for you when benching. When you're setting your feet up for bench press, you have a whole variety of options. You can have your feet tucked behind and close, tucked behind and wide, out in front of you, so your foot in front of your shin, having that stance narrow, having that stance wide. There's plenty of different foot positions you can use when benching, but you need to find what works for you. So there's two main things that I want you to think about when it comes to finding your foot position. Which one feels the most comfortable and which one feels the strongest and where you think you can drive the most through your quads. Now I'd say on average, most people will find it best with their foot to be in line with their knee, so they have a shin angle like this and a relatively close stance. But it's different for everyone, so try around with different stances and see which one works best for you. And now, the third and final myth is thinking that leg drive is cheating or it makes your chest work less. Now this just is plain and simply wrong, because if we're thinking about it, why is driving through your legs going to take away your chest while you're benching? If anything, it's going to increase the stimulus you can put on your chest because you can add more weight. So you're going to be moving more load and you're going to be more stable while you're doing it. So now you understand the common myths and common mistakes that you see in regards to leg drive. We're going to go through how to actually execute it. Now, before we get into how to actually use leg drive, you need to make sure this one thing is on point, and that's going to be your setup. If you don't have a good setup, you're not going to be able to use leg drive. And the main point with this is going to be how you set your back up into the bench. Now, if you watched some of my other videos where I go through bench press setup, you understand this. If you haven't watched any of them, I'd recommend to go and watch them. I'll leave the link in the description. But the way that your setup's going to go, if I just recap it quickly, you're going to set your feet, you're going to sit down on the bench and then lie down, set your hands, and then once you've done that, you're going to lift your glutes off the bench and drive your upper back into the bench while pushing into the bar, so you're able to create that arch and stability. Now, once you've lowered your glutes down to the bench slowly, you're in that perfect position to use leg drive because you have your upper back anchored into the bench. So when you're using leg drive, you're not going to slide up or move around. So how do you actually think about leg drive? Now, as I talked about before, when you see people hip thrusting, they're pushing into the ground. So what you're wanting to do is to push horizontally. So like kicking your feet away, like you're doing a leg extension. So you're not pushing down into the ground, you're pushing away, trying to push yourself towards the rack. So just an additional tip at the end of the video, you want to make sure that you're pushing towards the rack through your toes and your heels. For whatever reason, if you can't feel either your toes or your heels, something you can do is turn your toes out so your feet are more in line, so you're able to drive through your toes and your heels together.